This episode may contain strong language and adult themes. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
So here we are. Welcome to this week's episode of the 22 Dropouts. They're all cheering and dancing in the background, but what they don't know is I'm the only one that's on the screen right now. So they can do what the fuck they want behind there, because it is the day after the weekend before, after the first round of the Six Nations. There's plenty of that's gone on in Europe this weekend. So say hello, boys.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Jules, that's much better.
I thought you'd like it.
So I think let's get the elephant out the room straight away. Spain versus Portugal. It's quite a good game, wasn't it? Apart from there was no commentary on Rugby Europe TV.
Still to watch it. I've still to watch it.
It was quite good. Apart from
if you didn't watch that one, you must have watched the other one then, which had Nick doing the commentary. The Georgia-Russia game. That's the one that you were quite excited about, wasn't it, Sam?
Started watching that this morning, but then had to go and do a job.
Yeah. By the way, Sam is working from home as of this week.
No, I am working from home, but today I had a 12-hour stock take, so no.
So just do reminders of who you work for and shout out to your boss, mate.
Oh, absolutely phenomenal guy. Like, honestly, it always lets me do what I want. Yeah.
Anyway, well, that's European rugby out of the way, since you didn't bother to watch any of it. So we better go straight on to the Premiership then, haven't we? Or no, let's not, because Wasps lost again, didn't they? They were bloody
What Premiership? Was there any Premiership? I never even knew.
Yeah.
Ealing beat Saracens.
Again?
That was 2 weeks ago.
20-something 39, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was the only rugby that took place this weekend.
Yeah.
There was no other rugby at all. It was just
not in the UK. Not in the UK. No.
Definitely watched Spain beat Portugal. I definitely saw Georgia beat Russia.
And then there was the Super Bowl. It was Super Bowl, wasn't it?
Super Bowl was on. Bit of helmet head ball.
Helmet ball. So Phil, tell us all about Super Bowl then. How many days did you stay awake for?
Well, for me, it comes on mid-afternoon, so I'm good.
Don't tell us who won.
Don't
tell us who won.
The Buccaneers did really well.
I won't tell you who won, but I can tell you who lost.
You do that as well, yeah.
The Buccaneers did really well.
They did really,
I can tell
really
you
well.
right now, just the last minute of the first half, just fast forward if you're going to watch
Bypass it.
because it lasts 30 minutes.
Go straight to the halftime show.
How's that possible? Unless somebody has died on the pitch and you have to wait for the coroner to come and take them away before you can carry on. How is that possible?
I've got no idea. It literally lasted 30 minutes. I literally turned it on. It was 1 minute and 3 seconds left in the first half. I went off and did something. I went for a pee. I came back, got into bed, blah, 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 watched it in bed. Did something else for 5 minutes, went off for 5 minutes.
did something else.
What you don't realize that there was 4 timeouts taken. Each one of those last a minute.
Yeah, and there was like 30. I literally looked at my clock, went away. I came back. I'd gone for a poo, came back. I'd been about 30 minutes, got myself a glass of water, got back to the room. There was 13 seconds left. It was like 20, 30 minutes afterwards. I was like, how the fuck can 1 minute? Or even 50 seconds.
If you want a sport that's worse than that, watch NBA basketball, because it'll take 20 minutes to finish the last 3 minutes.
That's just nuts. Like
horrible.
Yeah, it is nuts, isn't it?
I mean, ice hockey. I get it's not a long game, but it lasts an hour. It's an hour on the ice, but maybe it'll last an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Were they managing to stop the clock all the time, Phil? Like,
well, they had 4 timeouts called in the last minute of time, plus a touchdown.
In an injury. in a normal American football game, it lasts for 60 minutes. On TV, it goes for about 3 hours.
Correct.
And ball is in play
7
less
minutes.
than 4 minutes.
7.
That's
7.
correct.
I saw the stats last week. 7 minutes.
7
And
minutes.
yet there's 85 or 100 million people watching it every weekend.
I don't
Yeah,
get it.
and
I just
how
don't
many of
get
them
it.
were wearing masks at the ground?
If only they had opportunity to watch a really good game of rugby like Saracens against Ealing or Spain against Portugal, they'll never watch
England
American
against
football
Scotland,
again.
maybe. Wales against Ireland.
Well,
I'm going to go back to one thing, though. I'm going to go back to one thing in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Is there's a game within the game during the Super Bowl called a commercial, right?
Yeah.
And we have this running thing going on Facebook. A bunch of us bloggers, we comment on the quality of the commercial, things like that. But what was really important that I just realized, we never saw one cheerleader.
What?
Sacrilege.
That's just shocking. You want to
I think America. This is because you've had a change of president and you're not allowed because that's sexist now.
You better edit that. You better edit that comment.
Lots of children on it. There'll be loads of children on it. That's why.
No, you can't do that either. In
Bill.
fact, it's just going to be a field of grass next year.
I got a great idea. Great
If
idea.
you put anything
We
else
just
on it, it'll
have
be
the sport
woke.
What was
and have
that?
a 5-minute half time and just
Hey.
get on with the fucking game.
Bill,
Oh,
No.
you need to write
Get out
an email.
there.
Bill
We
needs
just
to write
watch
an
the
email.
fucking game.
Wait, hang on a minute. Time
Who's
out.
saying
Oh, fuck, I've just done time out now.
Oh.
20 minutes later, we're coming back. Julian was making a point, and then Sam, please jump in once Julian's finished, because I couldn't hear any of you.
I'm fucking bored now because we already talked too much. There's too many fucking commercials. Put the game on.
how many Budweiser adverts were there?
There was 4. There was 2 Bud Light commercials and 1 Bud commercial, and then there was a couple of other beer commercials.
But it's ridiculous the amount of money they pay for commercials during the Super Bowl.
Yeah, $2.5 to $6 million.
I know.
I mean, what is the
That's for
audience?
30
What is the
seconds.
audience figures for the Super Bowl?
No, 100 million. Easy.
Oh,
More than that.
I mean, here we are. You guys are halfway around the world, and you're talking about the Super Bowl in the United States.
It's the only
there's a
We
reason.
didn't watch it.
There's a reason that we're talking about the Super Bowl today.
And there was no
In fact-
cheerleaders. And no
well,
cheerleaders.
exactly, and that's the
I
worst
saw
tragedy of the
saw
weekend.
more of the actual game and the stuff going on at the Super Bowl on Lindsey Vonn's Instagram channel than I did watching the fucking game on TV.
What God, I forgot what I was going to say now. Yeah, it's the only game the Brit. It's the only game the Brits actually watch over here, Phil. It's the last game. It's to commemorate what a shit sport you actually have over there.
Well, but having said that, the NFL has been doing 1 or 2 games in the UK for many years.
Down in London.
Well,
It's
Here's,
huge.
Down in London, yeah.
here's a link. I'm sure his name is Brett Gosper. He was the CEO at was it Six Nations or World Rugby or something? He's now
World
moved.
Rugby.
World Rugby. Brett Gosper last week left World Rugby and is now the CEO for NFL Europe or something like that.
Yeah,
isn't he?
we should get in contact with him because I think that there's a really good opportunity there to try to tie some things together.
Brett, I know you watch this because you love our show. I'll ring you tomorrow and we'll try and get you on.
Sam's turn. Come on, Sam.
No, I've got one question before we go to Sam. Sorry, Sam. Right. You're going to
Just already
spend,
mentioned the England game.
No, he's not.
you're going to spend $6 million on an advert, a 30-second advert, watched by 100 million people who already know whether they like Coke or Pepsi. What the fuck is the point? Phil, you were supposed to do your advert there, mate.
Yeah. So again, I don't need to be sold on this product.
But we do need some sponsorship for the show from that product. That product.
Yeah, and I do want to make a comment that the Super Bowl is sponsored by Pepsi Cola.
And so now for tonight, as a one-off only, tonight we're going to keep the Pepsi Cola advert throughout our whole show. We're going to have Pepsi Cola on the whole show tonight. And Phil, you can go and ask them for some money. Yeah, go get. I think we've just lost our new sponsor.
Don't drink that shit.
Anyway, listen, it's nearly
Sam.
end of the first part of
Sam.
tonight's show. But when we come back after the break, we're going to talk.
You're
about
a fucking wanker.
What we're going to talk.
We're
going to
talk.
speak after
He doesn't want to be a winner like us.
Have a chat. Pete even gets to say his fucking shite, wherever he wants about fucking anything, and then you start talking about your other crap.
Sam, you sound basically like every Englishman on Saturday, apart from we can't understand you.
What was? Oh, that's right. Because of course, England were doing really badly in the cricket, weren't they, on Saturday? India, what did they close? 555 for 8 or something.
Jennifer said it earlier. Put yourself on mute because you're being fucking naughty. Right, Phil.
Yes, sir.
How much money did they make from the hundreds of thousands of cardboard cutouts that they had at the stadium?
There was 52,000 cardboard cutouts and 23,000 attendees in person, and I think that they had some kind of program where you can buy one of those cardboard cutouts for $100.
$100 a piece, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
And you send your image, and then they cut you out, and it's like, oh, and your name gets thrown in a raffle to get 2 tickets to next year's Super Bowl in LA.
Can you please send an email, Phil, to an email address to who the fuck do I complain to about fucking no cheerleaders at the stand stadium.com? Because that's fucking ridiculous. That's why we watch it.
Well, on that bombshell, and Phil is going to go off to try and work out what that email address was without all the fuckings. Don't put those in, mate, because it'll never get there. It'll just bounce back. We're going to talk about, well, the Six Nations is coming up next weekend. So we'll talk about the games that are coming up next weekend right after this break.
When you need clear and concise match official communication systems, look no further than the brand new AXIWE AT350.
Radios are always useful, they always help us, especially AXIWEs, where all 3 of us can be open at any time, we can have open communication.
Available now from refcomsglobal.net. Investing profits into match official development worldwide.
Welcome back to part 2 of tonight's 22 Dropouts. Now we're going to go straight to Malta and let Sam talk about his favourite game of the weekend. Sorry, we've run out of time, Sam.
Oh, I can't see that word.
Did you see just how quickly he got back to his seat when he realised he could talk about it? But there is something more important to talk about before we go ahead.
Oh, will you stop playing?
This is something that was just brought up by Julian during the break, and I think it's quite important that
Julian,
because we think we found what happened to the cheerleaders.
Whoa! Julian got something up.
No, blue pills.
No,
mate.
he
Blue
brought
pills.
it up. He brought it up because you were talking about officials, weren't you?
Well, it was, yeah. And I know there was the first time they've had a female referee in the games in the Super Bowl. But there were involved 8. It's the highest number of female officials on the pitch in a Super Bowl ever. There were 8 women involved on the coaching sides for both teams, for the referee side, medical staff, everything. So there was more women in the pitch than, not including cheerleaders, than ever before, which is great.
The interesting thing about the female referee, she was a back judge, called in football. It's the first time a female match official has been involved in a Super Bowl a football game. She's been doing football games for a couple of years now in the NFL, but it's the first time as an official in the Super Bowl.
That's brilliant. It's really good, mate.
Yep.
Hey, it shouldn't matter. It should go on ability.
The best part was as well, all the officials who made the appointments and everything, they didn't say, oh, we've appointed a woman for the first time. They came out and said, we've appointed the best officials we have for this game.
That's all you can ask for, isn't it?
That's it.
In any sport, sport.
Yeah.
And that's the funny part. Jules, that's the funny part is that you're absolutely right. They came out and said we actually have the best people in those positions for the Super Bowl. It was the media slant and everything else that went along and say, well, this is the first female, and it needs to be recognized, particularly last week with the International Women's and Girls in Sports Day, right? So.
But on top of that, the commentary team did really well to highlight the fact as well, and they put it on camera too. When when they mentioned about the female being first on the NFL and stuff for the.
To be honest, did you see the other referees? Why wouldn't you put her on camera?
Yeah, it's just
it is a big deal, right? And
thumbs
up to the NFL for doing that.
Should a cap and a face mask on? We're like, oh, come on, man.
Samuel.
Yeah,
you wouldn't say that about Daryl, would you?
Yeah, you would say about.
Well, we know it's Daryl. He'd be sucking his belly in all the time.
Of course, I would say that about Daryl. Of course, I would. I'd be saying keep your face mask and your cap on.
I read somewhere that Google. She was about the third most popular Google thing during the game to see what she actually looked like as a person.
There you go. See, I'm not the only one.
Is that behind people Googling what you did in your game?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but, that's a long forgotten thing now, Mike. It's just
no, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's not, mate. As our resident professional and the only one who's getting any game time at the moment, you're having it, son.
Well, the championship's going to start as well, isn't it? It's been confirmed. All the fixtures have been announced.
Well, the London Scottish have said they're not paying for their COVID testing at £4,500 a week.
So
And I don't blame them at that.
The only one that pulled out, all the rest of it.
Yeah, so we'll wait and see with bated breath. Wouldn't it be really nice if some of those were covered by TV a bit more, and the clubs could benefit from that?
Does that how much it costs for COVID testing?
No, it's about 4.5 times what it should cost them for a week's worth of COVID testing. I know, because I've done the quote.
That flies it over there, Mike.
No, these are for lateral flow tests. These aren't PCRs. These are the ones done on site. Absolutely crazy. But we should talk about fourth and fifth officials while Daryl's here, because boy, oh boy, did some of them have a busy weekend, especially in yesterday's game. I mean, how many people went off for HIAs and sim bins? And I mean, if they didn't start and stop their watch, like, because I mean, I'm really good at doing that. If they weren't as good as me at starting and stopping my watch, they could have lost that. It is tough, Daryl, isn't it? Because it's the worst job in the world if you get it right, and if you get it wrong, everybody knows about it and hates it.
Well,
you just need a pen and paper and the right foot and just write it down. Yeah, these people that try and do it in their heads, doomed to fail. Yes.
On that note,
you don't mute yourself, Sam.
I just asked Pete a question and you were interrupting.
I didn't even got my internet had turned off there.
Ah, and for the remainder of the show, we're just going to watch Pete's dog.
Yeah, that's better than listening to Sam.
Well, actually, we're coming to Julian now, because Julian watched quite an important game of rugby yesterday, didn't you?
I did. I watched Spain-Portugal.
Yeah.
I also watched Wales-Ireland.
And how did they do?
Well, the Spanish did very well. The team of officials was a friend of ours doing his first championship debut on touch, and he had a great job. He even threw in a flag, an incorrect one in my opinion, but he still threw it in. And I've taken the piss out of him royally. We beat the Irish, which I honestly always expect to do. But
was Japan
playing? Japan weren't playing. No, we would have lost that.
Since we're talking about
each other and.
Now, Julian, look, there was quite a critical part in the game, wasn't it? The Peter Marnie. I don't know what to call it, whether to call it a tackle, the clear out, or GBH. That really has caused a problem for him, hasn't it?
Yeah, but it's not the first time he's done it.
When Barnsley was watching it, the angle Barnsley had, it looked like he's just come in to clear out Tipperick and caught his head accidentally.
We're losing you there, Julian. We might have to go live to Malta in a minute. So, Sam, get ready.
He's got in with his shoulder and he's tucked his arm in and gone in with his nose. That's it.
And
nice
it was
and easy,
direct.
Simple red card.
Absolutely. Couldn't be anything else, could it? Couldn't be anything else.
But that kind of kicked the Irish in the ass, didn't it? And the Welsh, Alan Jones even said the Welsh fell asleep after that. They thought they had it in the bag and then you can't stop playing.
Yeah,
and we nearly
talking
fucked
about
it
Alan Jones.
Gareth Davies kicked the bloody ball away, and if it wasn't for the Irish fly half after Sexton went off, kicking it long, we wouldn't have won that.
I mean, Alan Wynne-Jones, I've got to say, I'd love to know what kindergarten he goes to, because then we could go and have a word with his teachers about not moaning all the bloody time. But he's forever sitting on his arse with his hands in, looking up at the ref, pretending that he hasn't got his hands all over the ball, and then moans when somebody says no. So, Alan Wynne, no. But actually, it was a bit of a weird game because it started really well, then went quite dour in the middle before quite a tense ending.
If that kick went into the corner, it'd have been different for him. But fair play. I thought Wales lived off scraps for the whole entire game. You know, they absolutely were just...
Yeah, we are the other ball.
Yeah, exactly. And to be fair, when he scored, he scored.
We were shit and we won. We were shit and we won, and you have to be like that sometimes. You have to be shit and win to win championships.
Yeah. So do we think Wales
still win?
Scotland did it very well.
Unlike England, who were shit and lost.
Do we think Wales were lucky not to get a red card for the poorly timed tackle?
No, I don't. I think he was all right there.
He came in, and didn't make contact. It wasn't a very good tackle.
It wasn't very good, but I don't think it was anywhere red. I don't think it was close. Maybe it should have been penalised, but it wasn't, was it?
If you'd have put it up on the screen, what would it have looked like?
Yellow, probably. I don't think it would have been a direct contact to the head.
Oh, so Wales were cheating?
I think it was direct contact, high danger, which is the criteria, yeah?
Yeah, I know, yeah. But no. But then again, when I watch Wales, I wear it with an eye patch, so I don't give a fuck.
That was on the other screen, wasn't it?
We won. I got told off. I got told off being a referee a while ago, saying, "You can't bloody scream like that when the bloody game's on." Da da da. I said, "Look, mate,
you can. There's
two games I bloody cheer for: Cardiff playing, Wales playing. My eye patch goes on. I'm going one-eyed the whole bloody game, and I don't give a fuck if I'm wrong."
Now, who have you got next week?
We have the friendly people in pink shirts on our shirt TV screen right now, who's very, very quiet, I have to say. I wonder why. Probably because he can't reply, because he's sinking like he's just getting prepared to be underwater when he sinks like the Titanic next weekend. Because you're going down, Sam.
It's starting now. It's starting now.
It started yesterday.
Let's preview the game. Let's preview the game this weekend. Julian and Sam, the floor and the screen are yours and yours alone.
Honestly, on this weekend's performances, Scotland are going to go in cocky, overconfident, thinking they're going to blast us off the park. And the Welsh are going to come on pissed off with themselves, looking to fucking run it at the jocks, and we're going to fuck them over. Because we like playing in Murrayfield. Because it's wet and everyone drops the ball. We like to live on scraps.
Sam,
plus, they're probably all the jocks are still going to be hungover from the fucking weekend as well. He knows it. He friggin' knows it. Sam, you're not on mute anymore.
Aye, well, it's getting a chance to actually fucking speak now, eh? But there you go. Challenge accepted, Jules. Bring it on, mate, and we'll see what happens up at Murrayfield, mate. You know what the Welsh are like. They're dogged like the Scottish, so bring it on, mate, and just let's have a cracking game.
And then when we're done, end of the game, we can start taking the piss out of the Irish.
That's it. Now, going back to the Ireland games, are we talking about the high tackle, Darryl, when we're talking about the two centres coming together, yeah?
Yeah.
Right. So when I saw that, I thought, Christ, that's a red card straight off the bat. I thought that's been missed. And then I looked at it again. I went, there's actually contact before on the body, before there's actually contact to the head. So it would probably get mitigated down to a yellow, but it should still have been looked at for sure anyway. Wales can think of themselves a bit lucky, even though they've done well, they've got to win dirty games. But there should have been a yellow card towards the end as well for professional foul, slowing down the ball down the right flank as they were trying to get in for the score when Wales didn't have any defence lined up.
Yeah, he put his hand on it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And Barnesy didn't catch it at all. He missed it.
Well, he made a non-decision.
Sam's brought up a really good point there, because we talked about this last week. That head-on-head contact when the tackle starts still below the shoulders, but they bang heads. And of course, there is the World Rugby's new head contact protocol, which they did say they were going to adopt this weekend, but it didn't seem to happen in Wayne's game. Because I thought if we were going to follow that, you're absolutely right, Sam, that could have been a red card for the tackler, because he had the option of going lower, didn't he?
I'll be honest with you. I think it's really been a bad miss. Now, it took them how long to actually get the Irish lad off, I think, for an HIA check? He didn't go off straight away, did he?
No, the Welsh boy did as well. They both went.
No, he didn't want to go, did he?
Yeah, that's one. But he went off later for an HIA check.
Yeah, later on. But that was something else.
So it took a really long time for him to go for an HIA check. Maybe it was through another knock or something where he got a second hit or something. I don't know. But I mean, for me, and I said it when I was at the World Cup, when it was the World Cup, anybody that's deemed to have been given a high tackle and anything like that, the person that's given the high tackle, if it's a head-to-head contact, should be automatically going off for an HIA as well.
Of course. Yeah. You're absolutely right.
But that's the thing, they're not, and they should be.
Daryl, now that we have independent match doctors, surely that's something that they would be looking at.
Yeah, so what happened is the independent match day doctor will have watched it back on a loop. He's either been asked to watch it back by an observer in the stadium, or one of the opposition coaches has come to him, or opposition physio, and has said, can you look at that player? And so he's gone and looked at it on the loop, and then he's fed to the fourth or fifth official that he wants that player off for an HIA. I think actually the physio went and pulled him off as well, because they're all talking to each other on the communication.
Yeah.
But if an independent match day doctor comes up to you as a fourth official and says, I want an HIA on a player, you feed it to the referee immediately, and the referee makes the decision whether to stop the game there and then. It's not your decision when to feed it in. Give it in straight away, and the referee makes the decision to stop the game straight away.
It's interesting. Yeah. It's interesting. Now, we have finished the second half. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Welcome back to part 3, where my good friend in Malta is limbering up. I don't know whether it's just because he had a dodgy night's sleep last night, but he does.
How did you do?
I spoke to your girlfriend earlier, mate.
All right, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, just about your singing. Now, Sam did send us.
Sorry. No. On that note, Phil, Daryl, just for you guys, right, on the singing front, here you go.
Mr. Mike Milroy, this is just for you. You can stick your cherry up your ass. You can stick your sweet cherry up your ass. You can stick your sweet cherry. Stick your sweet cherry. Stick stick your sweet chariot up your ass.
We're going to ride our sweet right chariots up your ass. We're gonna ride our sweet right chariots up your ass. And God save your gracious queen at the same time.
My son is standing over there thinking, what the fuck are you singing?
Oh,
anyway,
anyway, honestly,
going
I
on
had
here?
so much fun fucking dancing up and down singing that one fucking at the phone like.
Yeah, we've got the video. We'll be showing it now.
I'm sure you will.
Well done, guys.
That's what you want.
Now, also, we do.
We're going to talk about the
another
Lions
video.
at all? The Lions tour?
Not yet.
There's no Englishman in it. Why are there no Englishman on it?
Now, we do also have another video of Sam with his good lady and one of her friends singing "Flower of Scotland." Now, sadly, dear viewer, we've had to edit it a little bit because by this point Sam was so fished, as you can see from his eyes in a moment, that it went rather slow. So we've had to put it through the spool, through the edit machine, and get it up to normal speed for you. Here it is. Have a look at this.
Oh, flag Scotland.
When will we see our rights again? Let Thornton die for, leave it hell and great, and soon again say, get her! Red Edward's army, and send them homeward to think again. Those days are gone now, and then the past in us remain. But we can still rise now, and be a nation again, and soon again say, Red Edward's army, and send them homeward to think again.
It was deliberate. It was deliberate.
Well done, mate. Love you, really.
I'm sure you
So,
did.
the floor now, Sam, because you've been terribly patient. Well, actually, you haven't been patient at all. You've been like a fucking child who's had his toys taken off him all night.
That's because you
Now-
muted me and ignored me, you fucking tosser.
See, you do it again. Now you can talk about the game, the one that has just happened. The
Georgia
Scotland.
game.
Yeah.
The Jockling game.
Thanks, Jules. Sam, you can talk about how you felt and any other things that came up through the England-Scotland game.
Oh, Phil, you're not going anywhere. Stay with exactly where you are. You're not going anywhere, you twat.
So
Phil,
as soon
you're
as he
not
heard,
going anywhere. Stay here for 2 minutes, pal.
as soon as he heard Sam was going to talk about the
No
game,
way.
Phil's just typed on the screen, "I'm going."
So, first things first, Mike, I know how much you love a good whiskey, so pour yourself a glass, young man.
I can't drink whiskey.
I'm
I
sorry,
hate
but
this stuff.
that's
You
not
can't
my
today.
problem. That's not my problem. We had a fucking thing. I've been saying for 2 weeks on the road that Scotland's going to win at Twickenham. You talked at your ass saying it's never going to happen, blah, 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 bullshit. Pour a glass of whiskey, please, son.
He told us he was going to wear a scarf.
He's being challenged. He's being challenged live on our
That
show.
is my kilt. That
I
is
don't
my
care.
kilt, and if you want me to wear that live on the air, I will do that.
No, actually, I don't think anybody wants to see you live on the air wearing that. So please
Mike,
don't.
Mike,
Yes,
No,
Mike.
don't.
Mike. That
What?
just shows how big your cock is.
Oh shit! Hang on.
Do
Look
not
at
bring the
that.
bottle in.
I've just redone my belt and put my headset through it. Hang on. There you go.
There's a
Hello?
Right, so Mike, seriously, pour yourself a glass, mate. You've been
I
challenged. Get it
can't.
on.
Oh,
I don't
can't do it.
care. I don't
There
care.
was no challenge because I never
There-
agreed
there
to it because
was-
I know how much I aced it.
You agree to wear a Scotland shirt. I don't see one on you.
Phil, as a man that's decidedly out of the country, right, being out all the way over on the West Coast, right, do you agree, and you better say fucking yes, that Mike should drink a glass of whiskey saying that he's talked absolute bollocks for the last 2 weeks about England winning?
Yes.
Thank you. So, and Darryl's going to back me up on this as well, because Darryl's as much as a Scotsman as I am.
I don't drink whiskey either, but I think
don't
Mike should
drink
drink
whiskey
it for us.
It's vile.
As I'm actually a neutral Swede here, I think yes as well.
Come on then, Mike.
By the way, Julian, you probably don't get the American commercials for the Super Bowl, do you?
Oh, we don't know.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to send you the link of General Motors taking on Norway on a number of electric cars, and it's a real funny ending. You're gonna really appreciate this in Sweden.
Against Norway, I probably will.
Can you put it on?
No.
Can you put it on our WhatsApp chat?
Yeah, Will Ferrell ends up in Sweden, not in Norway.
Oh God, no.
So, whilst that was going on, did anybody actually notice Mike taking a drink of whiskey there, or did everybody not see that?
I saw his face.
Nobody actually saw Mike taking a drink of whiskey there, did they? I didn't.
You're not seeing it again until you watch the show next week.
So basically, you know, I'm not going to gloat too much. I mean, it was a good game. I'm not going to gloat too much, honestly. It was a good game of rugby by one side. Okay? I mean, England turned up to the pitch.
Did they? Where was Owen Farrell?
He's still in one of the pockets.
He's still doing that Dove advert, isn't he? He's counting all these dots from doing the Dove
Owen
advert.
Farrell is still trying to figure out if he's a fly half or a centre, because he doesn't know yet.
He isn't any of them now.
He hasn't got a fucking clue how to play fly half, right? So the only blot on the Scottish fucking book from that game was the stupidity of Finn Russell giving a fucking trip yellow card away. That was just silly.
It was because he's such a good player.
Yeah, he got beaten. He was saying, "I'm not having a scrum. I fucking beat me," so he tripped him up. But
yeah,
you know,
I would too.
And I was screaming at the telly saying, "What a freaking plonker! He's got to make sure that when he comes back on the pitch, he's got to make up for that." And you know what? He had an outstanding second half, along with fucking the Captain Marvelous, Mr. Hogg, right? He had a cracking second half, pinpoint accuracy with a boot. They just said, you know what? We're winning the game. It's torrential weather. You can have the ball down in your fucking half, down in your third, whatever, and we'll just live off your mistakes, which is what England normally do. And guess what? Yous were shite. You really were.
You got it wrong. You got it wrong. You weren't giving us the ball because we didn't want it. That's why we kept giving it you back.
Yeah, I know, but honestly, I mean, people are saying about stop kicking the ball, but that was a very, very tactically well-played game in the second half by Scotland. It really was.
Yeah, and it was shit by England.
And that's been the difference between Scotland on Saturday being a good side that can go out and win games, albeit it should have been by more, should not been by freaking 5 points. That should have been by at least, I reckon, 20 points to 6, something like that. Right?
What game were you watching?
No, not game as I watched.
Mate. Be gracious.
Let's be honest. There was a conversion and 2 penalties missed, plus a fucking try scoring opportunity with the ball bounced an inch above the guy's head. Right? So let's just be polite and say it should have been by about 20 points to 6. There should have been more of a scoreline than that. Right? Now, going to about the refereeing, since we're talking about refereeing, I love that image. Is that Scotland there, Jules?
It is Scotland, yeah.
Ah, good man.
So
let's have a wee conversation about the refereeing. Now, I think in the second half, did what's his name? The prop with the funny haircut.
They've all got funny haircuts.
Genge.
Yeah, Gwench. That prop called Gwench. Right. So, Did he not get asked to, or did they not review a no arms tackle at the knees in the second half? And they gave a penalty against him for it.
But first half.
Yeah, I think they nailed him in the second half for one, though. But in the first half, he had one, right? And it was in the first 5 minutes, he had one, and the bloody centre for England, that new lad with the funny white hair thing, dreadlocks going on, whatever his name is. Who's he?
Nobody else. We don't know, and we're English.
Exactly. Right, he had one as well, fucking chopped without arms at the thing, and not got fucking looked at. It was in the first 5 minutes. Nobody fucking looked at it at all. There should have been at least another yellow card in that game, easily.
Now, Sam, you just brought up something about the scoreline.
I only mentioned, sorry, Mike, but I only mentioned that because over the last couple of weeks we've been talking about this dangerous player because it was in Carl Dixon's game where people are getting fucking no arms tackles towards the knee, and it's bloody dangerous, and it needs to be cut out.
It does. You know, this is this is why you've got to create that space, and it's also why if the more you put this torpedo off the back of the ruck, I know we say, well, they're closer, so it's not as dangerous. You put 3 players, ball carrier at the front, driving forward. That guy is just going to want to chop and then protect himself. So with 3 guys close proximity with their feet, they are just going to do that, and the whole lot of that has got to come out of the game. It's got to be dealt with.
This was in the first 5 minutes of the game, I think. For the first 5 minutes of the game, when Scotland looked like they were in for scoring a try, they were about 5 metres out, and they had 2 chop tackles at the knees, back to back.
Well, I mean, how many times did we comment on it over the weekend? Know, the back foot has got to be policed better, and the chop tackle has got to be policed better, because you won't change it. It's almost coming to the point of, you know, we've got to deal with it like the high tackle and bring in the framework for it, because they're just not doing anything about it. But just coming back to your score line there, Sam, bearing in mind it was 6-11 and only 5 points difference, just how bad would you have felt if England pulled off a draw again?
Oh, mate, honestly, my ass was fucking tittering. It was squeezing. I'm not kidding.
Well, now you were with your girlfriend and her friend at the time, so just explain a little bit more about that.
The telly was getting screamed at. We were standing up, fucking giving it no penalties. Fucking hold on to the ball. Don't be stupid. You know, giving it all that. But
I had a completely different image in my head with your ball sticking with the girlfriend.
I just found it really amusing that a certain player who probably did not get praised enough throughout the game and after the game, but Hamish Watson, number 7, got the ball and he had royally booted that ball clean off the park to say, we've won. When you're saying about it got looked at in the first half, I can't remember if it was the first half. I think it was the second half that got looked at, but the chop tackle with Grange. Are they saying that there was an attempted arm wraps in the second one?
There was, well, he actually got penalised for one, didn't he? But what the referee did is played an advantage and went to the second penalty. And then Finn Russell came back to the centre, didn't he, where the first penalty was taken. Yeah. There was one where actually the Scottish player jumped out of it, and I think that was harsh.
Yeah,
I agree. There was another one where perhaps they didn't look at it. But
if I remember correctly, tell me if I'm wrong or not, but we're going by the footage if I remember correctly now, because I think I remember seeing it where it was when Scotland got their first 3 points. It had just happened, right? And I don't know, maybe, you know, who was the TMO? Was it Joy? Yeah. So I think Joy maybe was in his ear saying to him something about it, because as soon as the penalty had been taken, he didn't go straight back to the halfway. He ran across to the pitch to where a couple of the players was, and it was one of the lads that had just done chop tackle. I think maybe
you obviously watched it a little bit more closely than we did.
I think a quiet word was had at that point, mate.
I mean, like, to be fair, Scotland deserves the win. I will say this, but I do like winding you up a bit, Sam. It's just more of the easy hit, but England were poor. It was.
Yeah, they were shocking.
But we were poor in the autumn internationals.
Yeah.
And it's just a carry on. You know,
because there's nothing's changed. What's
nothing
he done? Oh, okay, I've moved Farrell from 12 to 10.
We need a crowd. We're desperately needing a crowd.
Johnny me.
Game plan.
What did Johnny May do? What did Johnny May do in the game? Johnny May is an outstanding winger. What did he do? He dropped the ball twice. That's all he done the whole game.
Is right that not one person scored over 5 points for England in the rankings. So, and Scotland were getting. I mean, Hogg was awesome. Hogg played really. His kick that went about 80 yards downfield was awesome.
Yeah.
But it just makes the. I mean, like, to be fair, England like to come from behind quite a lot. We're making the championship a little bit more ideal now because we're fed up of running away with it all the time. So now we've got like 200.
We're not worried about that right now with the French playing the way they are.
Yeah. So
yeah,
now
you see, we're thinking the French are still going to be a bit dodgy, but they're not.
No. So you've got the two underdogs. You've got the Scotland, like a normal wooden spooners of Italy, a bit underdogs. You've got Wales that have been poor for a while, that haven't scored many tries, that actually ended up scoring some tries against Ireland. The Irish are
14-man Ireland. 14-man Ireland.
You still got to play the people in front of you, right?
Yeah, but come on.
And it's the same thing as that when that Welsh player got sent off in that World Cup semi-final. That was just the same thing. But the whole thing is that France will be awesome. France will win it. No,
I said that was my first post. It was my first post on Facebook. France, the team to beat this year.
Yeah,
France will win it.
Jalibert, Dupont, and Teddy Thomas were just
were they all three of them?
Absolutely sublime.
All over the place. They were just
definitely one to watch in this year's Six Nations.
Just
France
remember
are definitely going to win. France are definitely going to win the Six Nations.
I can't see anyone taking it.
Hold on. I did not say that France is going to win the Six Nations. I said France is the team to beat. Come on.
Sam, you played really well on Saturday and you won, but you are not going to beat the French.
Not if they play like
you open, yeah?
So, Daryl, you've got to pick a drink you don't like, and Sam, you're definitely picking a drink you don't like. Because as soon as you lose, you're having it.
That'll be
that'll be next weekend.
Next weekend.
when we're talking about France, honestly, like, is it just me or do the Italians look a bit like shell shocked, like what we're doing here? I mean, it was seriously like, when they had the ball, they looked like they could actually play a bit of rugby. And then they decided, let's throw a shit pass every fourth or fifth pass. It was either on the ground or to no one or up in the air, fucking asking for a hospital pass.
Yeah, but that's French.
That wasn't the French, that was the Italians.
That was the Italians.
Oh,
the problem is, there's
I'm
not
not being funny.
There's a few of them who can play.
Now, I know that a few messages went to Carl Dixon because he was TMO for that match, and we're going, please don't give that as a forward pass, Carl. Please don't give us a forward pass. But it was, and he had to give it, and I was like, oh no, please, Carl, don't do that. And it was a really good try as well. I thought, the Italian scrum half fucking dummied the guy twice.
Yeah,
it's brilliant play.
It was, and it was such a shame.
I was like,
But if you look at the Italians game, if some of those passes that have come off, right? I mean, they were really adventurous passes, and you've seen in games where it all goes right, and some of those come off and they're through. Yes, I mean some of them were pretty poor, but some of those that had just come off could have been a completely different story.
You can see it.
Absolutely, mate. But the problem, Darryl, is that the standard pass to normal play, right, under pressure, was not going to hand. It was going fucking down low or a little bit higher, and the guy had to check his run or fucking pause, stop, pick it up, whatever. And that's the difference between a fucking good team and a decent team.
Yeah, and look, we may see in the coming weeks that those passes start to stick, and maybe if they had better rugby domestically or could get together a bit more often, and play better opposition, then we might see that. And we talked about some of those things over the weekend, and we'll bring those up next week. But just before we go tonight, because we literally have dragged Sam's enjoyment out far too long, Phil's got a couple of points that he wants to bring up.
Well, the first thing is, do you think that the English team is taking the social distancing of staying 2 meters apart too far away by kicking the ball away all the time? I mean, to me, they need to go back to the law book. Just ball in hand.
Well, you know what? Keep kicking it then, because I'd like to see Italy. I honestly, I'm feeling really sorry for Italy because they're going to get absolutely annihilated.
You just fucking slated their passing
by a pissed off England,
Yeah.
right? Because they're going to get annihilated by pissed off England. But I would honestly pee my pants, or I swear honestly, I'd pee my pants if England lost to Italy, because they're the only team in the Six Nations that hasn't lost to Italy yet. And I tell you, that would be an absolutely phenomenal result.
And if that ever does happen, viewers, we're going to make Sam pee his pants live on TV.
No, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that.
He does it every 5 minutes.
Hashtag you heard it here first. No, Phil's got something quite serious.
It's a rumour. It's a rumour.
Listen, shut up. Phil's got something serious to say now.
Yeah, no, it was a tough week, tough month, the end of January for us. We lost one of our board of directors, Frank Shankowitz. And for those who don't know Frank, Frank was the guy, him and his wife co-founded the Make-A-Wish Foundation for the kids. And sadly, he passed away with esophageal cancer 3 weeks ago. He was only diagnosed with the cancer 10 days earlier. So it went very rapidly. He was sick in the hospital all through the holidays with fluid on his lungs, and he drained it a couple of times. So they knew there was something more going on, but his diagnosis, in fact, he was supposed to see the oncologist the day after he passed away. So it's a sad thing for the Rugby Foundation, and and for his impact of giving back to the community, not through rugby because he was just getting involved in the sport of rugby, but he loved our mission of getting involved with the youth, the kids, and helping create better children and ultimately better communities. So he was involved, and he's going to be sadly missed.
Well, from all of us, listen, I've seen you're always wearing those grey hats, mate. Walked around like you owned the whole of the United States. So here's one from us to you. And on that note, guys, we'll see you all next week after Wales has beaten Scotland or Scotland's beaten Wales.
Oh, we can't even finish the show yet, man. There's still loads to talk about. What are you talking about?
We'll see you later. Take care. Good night.